On August 7, 1998, nearly simultaneously, bombs blew up in front of the American embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, which is in Africa. 224 people died in the blast, including 12 Americans, and more than 4,500 people were wounded. In the aftermath of the attacks, over 900 FBI agents and many more FBI employees traveled overseas to assist in recovery of evidence and the identification of victims at the bomb site and to track down the perpetrators. These attacks were soon linked directly to Al Qaeda. Extraordinary efforts from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and international partners led to the identification of the men that were involved in the bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. But one name stood out, the man that orchestrated all this. He was the personal assistant to Osama bin Laden. He had taken it upon himself to work his ranks up in Kenya to make sure that he identifies the most vulnerable places that Al Qaeda could hit America. His name is Fazul Abdullah Mohammed. That was his name. He appeared on the FBI most wanted list of terrorists. Now, getting back to business. Fazul Abdullah Mohammed, reported two had been killed in the Somalian capital, Mogadishu. Had been long one of the most wanted Al-Qaeda suspects. He was indicted by the US government for his alleged involvement in the 1998 US embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. He is also thought to have masterminded the simultaneous attack on the Paradise Hotel in Mombasa and a missile strike on an Israel charter flight in the year 2002. Fazul Abdullah Mohammed was on the US government list of 26 most wanted terrorists and had a $5 million bounty on his head, a $5 million bounty on his head, which is equal to right now about 50 million Kenyan shillings. The US believed he is one of the many foreign terrorists was given shelter in Somalia, and had asked the Somali group that now controlled Somalia capital to hand him over, despite repeated denials from Union of Islamic Courts that it is not harboring foreign Islamic fighters. Fazul Mohammed first came to the attention of the US investigators after the East Africa embassy attacks. He is said by the FBI to be a master at using aliases, having evaded the agency for years. He was thought to have headed home to the Comoros Island in the Indian Ocean immediately after the attack. But as FBI agents tried to trace him there, he boarded a plane to the Gulf and disappeared without trace. According to Ahmed Rajab, editor of the magazine African Analysis, which published reports on Mr. Mohammed, the FBI then said that during a search of Mr. Mohammed's home, investigators found computers that contained evidence linking him to Al-Qaeda network. They also claimed to have found a number of passports of different nationalities. Now, who was Fazul Abdullah Mohammed? Mr. Mohammed was born in Comoros Island in the early 1980s. He is thought to have spent some time studying in Saudi Arabia. the Combating Terrorism Center at West Point Military Academy in New York, where he obtained a passport of Fazul Abdullah Mohammed, which was issued to him in 1990 in Moroni and renewed in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia in 1996. It shows he traveled to Mauritania in 1990, then to Tanzania in 1994, and in 1995 to Sudan on several occasions in 1995, to Yemen in 1995, and to Kenya in the year 1993, and several times in 1994 and 1995. It was revealed he was also a resident of Pakistan for 1 year in 1991 and 1992, he was the personal assistant to Osama bin Laden. Now, little more is known about Fazul Mohammed until he surfaced in East Africa in the late 1990s. Like many suspected Al-Qaeda operatives, he was able to exploit the region's lax law enforcement, porous borders, to move around and avoid detention. He held Kenyan and Comorian citizenship. According to reports, U.S. agents believed they had tracked him down to Monrovia, the capital of Liberia, after the 11th September 2001 attacks on the U.S. He was allegedly identified as one of the number of suspected Al-Qaeda operatives to have set up base in Monrovia as part of a plot to funnel diamonds and weapons through the West Africa. It is believed that from 2002 he was put in charge of Al-Qaeda operations in the whole of East Africa. According to a report published in 2002, after a joint investigation by European intelligence agencies, the Pentagon planned to send a special forces team to Africa to snatch Mr. Mohammed, but had to abandon the plot because his identity could not be confirmed. In the year 2007, there was report that Fazul Abdullah Mohammed had been killed in U.S. airstrike in southern Somalia, but U.S. officials later disconnected the claims. Before sightings by Kenya security operatives in Somalia, his last known whereabouts were on the highland of Lamu, off the northeastern Kenyan coast, where he was posing as a Muslim teacher. Ahmed Rajab, the editor, said. Now, Mr. Mohammed was said to have taken on a different name and got married. The FBI's website says he speaks French, Swahili, Arabic, English, and Comoran, and describes him as a casual dresser. Mr. Mohammed likes to wear a baseball cap. He is very good in computers. Yeah, he is believed to be a hacker and a very intelligent human being. Now, this is the mastermind of the U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, on August 7th, the year 1998. Apart from that, he was also the mastermind behind the bombings of the Paradise Hotel in Mombasa. That's it for now. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news and more updates. This is the Case Files.